In this demo, we will take a look at how to create and compile a procedure as well as how to execute it. We will then see how we can see the errors if any and set the warning levels. Let us start off by creating the setup tables and inserting some sample data in them. First is a departments table with two columns, department ID and department name. We insert a couple of rows in this table for department ID 1 for IT and 2 for accounting. Next, we create the employee table with columns EMP ID, EMP name, employee department ID, employee location, employee salary, and employee status with the foreign key constraint EMP-DPT-FK, creating a foreign key on EMP-DPT ID, referencing the department ID from the departments table. Let us insert a few rows in here too. Let us run this script. So everything got created successfully. Let us create the procedure update_dpt. We have a SQL worksheet open here where we type the procedure as create or replace procedure update dpt followed by as. Then we define a variable lempid of type employee.empid%type. We begin the execution section with the begin keyword where we issue the update statement for the employee table, updating the EMP-DPT ID to lempid for department ID 2. Note that here purposely I have passed 2 as a character string even though EMP-DPT ID is a number. We then print the rows updated using dbms output and using the SQL %row count function. We make the changes permanent using the commit statement. We then have the exception block where using dbms output statements we are printing the SQL error message and exception stack trace to the console. We are then raising the error to the client application and rolling back any updates we have done. Let us hit the run script button to compile and create it. The script output says that the procedure update dpt was compiled successfully. Now, if you expand the procedure tree, you will see our procedure there. You might have to right click and click refresh to see our procedure. You can double click the procedure and it opens it up in a window with the procedure name on top. Over here, you can make further changes and then you can press the compile button over here to compile the procedure again. Another way of creating the procedure in SQL Developer is to click on the procedure node and then right click and select new procedure. It will open up a new window for you where you can specify the procedure name. You can specify the parameters if any. We will talk about adding parameters to the procedure later on. It also has a DDL tab where it keeps building the DDL for you. You can then click OK and it opens up the procedure window with the basic body built for you. You can further fill the body with the logic and then hit the compile icon on top. It tells us that our procedure was created successfully and you can see it in the procedure tree that our procedure indeed shows up there. Let us go back to our update department procedure and let us try to introduce some errors to our procedure now. Let me misspell the employee table name and call it employees instead. Let us hit the run script button again. The script output reports to us that there were errors, and to check the compiler log, let's click on the log. And then over here, we see that Oracle is complaining that the table or view does not exist at line 4. In the procedure node, if you refresh by right clicking, you will see that there is a red cross sign against our procedure indicating that it is currently invalid. Let us fix the error and click the run script button again. Let us refresh the procedure node and now our procedure is again back in the valid state. Let us now set and understand the warning levels. First, let us run the SQL statement select DBMS warning, get warning setting string from dual to see the current warning levels. We see that it is set to disable all. Click on Tools, Preferences, expand the database node and select PL SQL Compiler. Here you can see that it allows us to set the warning values for the different categories. In the drop-down, you will see the default value of null followed by enable, disable, and error. You can set values for specific categories or set them to enable for all. I generally prefer to keep it enabled for all levels. Let's keep the optimization level at 2 and click OK. We could have also issued the statement alter session set PL SQL warnings equal to enable all. We could have issued the statement call DBMS warning add warning setting category all enable session to enable the warnings at the session level using the DBMS warning package. All these are different ways to set the warning levels for different categories. Now let's run the select statement again. And this time we see that the warnings have been set to be enabled for all categories. Now let us go back to our procedure again and compile it. This time we see that the warnings came up, and if you click on the log you will see the warnings over here. If you see the warning regarding PL SQL debug as it is a deprecated parameter, then use alter session set PL SQL debug equal to false in your session. The first warning in this list is the severe category of warning regarding our program unit update DPT omitting optional authID clause and the default value of definer being used. We will talk about this in detail later on, but in short, the authID clause decides the privilege set under which the procedure runs, the one defining the procedure or the one executing it. We will let this warning stay for now. The default value of authID definer is what we want anyways. Next is a performance category warning, which says that the bind type will result in conversion as the bind type is not the column data type, and any unnecessary conversions can reduce performance. The last warning is an informational category warning for unreachable code, as the raise statement will cause the execution to jump out of the procedure, not executing the rollback statement. If we go to the procedure from the navigator and compile it over here, we would get similar warnings. Let us fix some of these warning situations. This will prevent the bind type conversion, and let's keep the raise statement as the last one to be executed. Let's compile it again. And this time all the warnings but that of the authID clause go away. We will talk about the authID clause later on. Let us now see how we can compile our procedure in the debug mode. There are two ways we can do it. One is by issuing the command alter procedure update dpt compile debug. Let's do that. Now if you go to the procedure node and refresh it, you will see the green sign against our update department procedure, which indicates the debug mode compilation. The other way is to go to the procedure directly and then over here choose the compile for debug option, and this will do the same thing. How do we compile our procedure in the native mode? By issuing the command alter procedure update dpt compile PL SQL code type equal to native. Let's run this. And how do we check the current settings? By issuing the select PL SQL optimize level, PL SQL code type, PL SQL warnings from all PL SQL object settings where name equal to update department. Running this query shows us that our code was compiled at PL SQL optimize level of 2. It is compiled in the native mode and the warnings were enabled for all categories.